oh, if we do like explosive isolated dives, they're going to be like, oh my God. But if we do butt cracker, like I heard this from a gold medalist, an Olympic gold medalist. And I was like, okay, buddy. I'm just crying because it was such a emotional time.
All right, we're live. Marina Spadoni.
Hey,
Real quick intro. I'm going to intro you real quick.
do it.
Marina is a 7-time Salvador national record holder, Pan American Games finalist, went to World Championships 3 times. Marina and I, we were teammates at ASU. We were actually on the same recruiting class to ASU. We went on the Halloween.
Yes.
It was Halloween weekend.
Yes.
And we did our recruit trip to ASU in 2011.
Did they dress you up?
I can't remember.
His weekend was good.
We've basically been working together, at least online, since 2017.
Yes.
We've been roommates. I feel like I've known you forever. We're basically family now.
Yeah.
I feel like you're my sister almost. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird to say, but
Well, I think of your kids as my niece and nephew.
yeah, and they call you Auntie Rena.
Yeah.
It's cute because my kids can't say Marina, so they say Rena.
Yeah.
And so everyone kind of just calls her Rena now. Anyways, that's a little bit about Marina. We have a tradition on this podcast. The guest of the previous episode left you a question.
Okay.
It was Joel. He asked, what is your favorite failure and how did it positively affect you?
Ooh, okay. My favorite failure. I would say that, from my greatest failure came my greatest success. So I think when we're in high school, the big goal is to get a scholarship and go to, I think in Southern California, Division I school. And that is very prestigious. And you're like, for me, I was like, I have to go to Division I. Mm-hmm. And I ended up committing after our recruiting trip to ASU on a 50% scholarship. And then there was a lot of communication errors with the former head coach. And just like, I felt like I needed to look elsewhere because I was like, oh my gosh, nothing is going well. So I ended up going to Minnesota. And I was a walk-on at Minnesota. Hated it. Within the first 2 months, I was like, I want to transfer. Like, this is so miserable. Ended up going back to ASU my second year for my sophomore, and I had gotten significantly slower at Minnesota. And so I was a walk-on at Arizona State my second year. And so I just felt like, oh my gosh, I just lost this opportunity. Now I'm just a loser that's on the swim team, and I'm like taking out student loans so I could be here. But from that, I feel like I got a lot of drive and fire and ended up by my senior year earning a full ride for my senior year of college. So biggest failure was messing up that opportunity due to fear and being an 18-year-old child trying to make life decisions and then coming through that.
Do you feel like had you taken that 50% your freshman year and you committed your freshman year, then you could have worked your way up to 100, or you would have been just stuck at 50%?
I think I would have been stuck at 50%.
So it's good that you actually went to Minnesota, missed out on the money because you ended up getting 100%. I don't know how if the math works out.
The math does not work out well, but
but you ended up making some of it back. Right.
Yeah.
I see. I think you have a very interesting swim career.
Yeah. Very unconventional.
It's very unconventional because our college career was good. You had a pretty good college career, but most of your accolades and your success came after college. And so I kind of want to cover every step of your, post-college career.
Right.
Because I'm sure there's a ton of people out there who are, maybe they're seniors right now and they're unsure about what they want to do in the future.
Yeah.
I know certainly for me, like I remember when I finished swimming, you lose your identity as an athlete, as a swimmer, and when you're done, it's like it's the most abrupt feeling ever. I remember calling Katie and crying. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. But yeah, so like I think you can provide a lot of insight to people who are maybe looking at the next phase in their life. So I just want to go like after graduation, what happened, and then like what was the decision to keep swimming and all that.
Yeah. So I graduated in 2016 with a degree in English linguistics. I also got my teaching credentials, so I was able to teach English globally. And then I also got a minor in psychology. So I remember my senior year just being an absolute nightmare. But I graduated, and then I was like, okay, what next? I remember at Pac-12s, my senior year, I didn't qualify for NCAAs, and I had qualified the year before. So like going from junior qualification and then senior year, you're like, okay, it's over. And then I was like, okay, logical next step, master's degree. And I just really quickly applied to a master's program. And master's programs are way too expensive in the United States. So I applied abroad, and I got into a university in Austria, in Graz, for a linguistics program. Got there, loved it, but wasn't emotionally mature enough to tackle what I think needs to go into a master's degree. I was unsure about what I want my thesis to be. I just wasn't finding what I was looking for. So I ended up dropping out after a semester and coming home. At this point, I'm only mentioning this because it's crucial to the story. I was still dating my college boyfriend. He was Brazilian, the Brazilian guy.
It's like, which one?
I just have a couple very long-term boyfriends. I am not a serial dater. So I was dating the Brazilian guy at the time, and I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. And he was like, why don't you just come to Brazil and hang with me for like a month? Loved it. Fell in love with Brazil. Because I studied linguistics, I know a bit of Portuguese. So it was fun to like hang out there. And I was like, how do I live here? How do I make this move? And he was like, well, why don't you come back to swimming and you can get on one of our football teams as a sponsored athlete, and we can get you an athlete visa. And I was like, hell yeah.
Football teams?
Soccer.
Oh.
Because
on one of your soccer team.
The soccer teams own, they're like the big clubs, and they make all the money, and they own all the other sports. So swimming gets the money from football teams and things like that. So
you're like pro under the soccer team. They're like the umbrella company.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Okay.
So I was like, hell yeah, what a great idea. So I started studying masters, and started swimming pretty quickly, started swimming faster than I was in college. And then around early 2019, I got my first Olympic trials cut.
Wait. We just skipped 3 years.
There was 3 years where I didn't swim at all.
Okay. And so 2016 and 20, when was this?
So 2016, I went to do my master's in Austria.
I didn't know this part about your life. I'm finding this out for the first time, by the way.
Okay, we can speed run it. I graduated college. I actually got a job in a bakery, and I worked as a baker.
Okay.
And I would wake up at like 4 a.m, bake bread, and then go home and
I didn't know this part of your life either.
And then I got into the master's program, moved to Austria, learned German, came back. And then I was like, oh my God, I need money. I became an English teacher. I taught high school English and English as a second language to refugee children. And I was in a last chance school. So all my kids had been expelled or suspended from all of their other schools. So this was like, I had kids with ankle monitors on. I had pregnant teens, kids that were from low income families. And it was like a big reality check for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the real world.
This is 2017 at this point.
Yeah, it's about
right?
2017, 2018. Because of that job, I also needed a coping outlet because I was like, I don't really know how to deal with these at-risk youth. It was a lot of like emotional, mental load for me.
Yeah.
Because like I had these kids coming to school that were like, a lot of them had crossed the border from like Guatemala and things and like war-torn areas. And they were like, oh yeah, like I watched my dad die in front of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they would have pictures and they're showing me pictures of like their deceased family members. And I'm like, how do I deal with this? Like, I don't really know. Like, how much comfort can you give these kids?
Right. You signed up to be an English teacher, not a therapist.
And then I kind of fell into these like much bigger roles. I needed swimming as that outlet to be like, okay, I need something in my life that I know. After that, then I went to Brazil. And I was like, I needed to leave the teaching job because I feel like teaching is such a huge responsibility, and the impact that you have on these kids' lives is forever. And I think a lot of people don't understand, especially in coaching and teaching, they think that it's such a, oh, clock in, I get all summers off. It's not really that big of a deal. But I think you can remember every horrible coach that you've had in your lifetime, every horrible thing that a teacher has said to you. And I just think the impact that we have on these kids is so much greater than we truly understand. And I don't think I was ready to take on that. So I was like, I need to leave. That's when I started swimming again in 2019.
In Brazil? No.
No, I'm in the US because I was like, okay, I'm going to start master swimming because all my times were expired and I couldn't enter any USA swimming meets. So
what state were you living at this
Arizona.
point? Okay.
Yeah, still in Arizona.
You're in Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, got some quick master's times, converted them over to USA swimming times very quickly. Within like 6 months, got my Olympic trials cut in the 50 free. And then a couple weeks.
You were training by yourself at this point?
No, I was training with the master's team at
with Johnny.
ASU with Johnny. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Shout out Johnny.
Yeah. He's a great coach, honestly. Yeah, and got my 100 free cut.
And you were running the Coten programs back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, we were doing like Sean's first edition of ASP together. None of us knew what we were doing.
To just talk about.
It's okay. I've had a lot of crazy blunders in my career. Yeah. When I got my second Olympic trial cut, I was like, I'm going pro. And I remember telling my parents that, and they were like, what the fuck? They were like, you're not that they didn't believe in me, but they're like, you are not good enough to go pro. Who
do you think you are?
You went to NCAAs on a relay,
right,
and you were like an extra relay swimmer. You were a walk-on in college. Like, you have no track record to prove that you can do this. And I was like, yeah.
But that's based off the past.
Exactly.
What was your second cut in? 100 free?
100 free, yeah.
And how did you have faith to know that you were going to make it, like, even though your parents were telling you this?
I didn't. I remember there was two people that I called specifically. I remember I called Katie Miley, the breaststroker for Team USA.
Stanford? No,
she went to, I want to say Columbia,
okay,
a New York school.
Okay.
And I remember talking to her and hearing her story, and she was like, I was good in college, but like not amazing. And then she continues on post-grad and gets a bronze medal in the 100 breaststroke. And so I was like, how did you know it's time to put all of your eggs in this basket? And she was like, you truly don't. Like, you have to do it, and no one is going to believe in you. It has to be all you. And I was like, okay, good to know. Let me call my other friend and double check. And then I called Elvis Burrows, who is a Bahamian butterflyer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, I just was like, we were pretty close at the time. And I was like, how do you know? Like, how do you know that this is a risk worth taking? And they both had the same answers. You don't. You will never know. And I look back at some of the risks I've taken in my career, and I'm like, that is insane. That is actually insane. I got my second Olympic trial cut. Within 4 weeks, I had packed up my apartment and I moved across the country to Virginia Tech, not ever having seen the pool, not having ever talked to the coach, just via text message. I was like, hey, are you taking pros? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. And he's like, awesome.
How'd you find Virginia Tech?
I was actually in Iceland visiting Ingi, our other teammate, and we were just swimming at one of the pools in Iceland. They have tons of pools there. So we're like, let's just go swim for the day. And we ended up running into Anton McKee, the breaststroker from Alabama. And he's like, what are you, like, we were doing practices with the team, and he's like, what are you doing, like, after this? Because you're clearly good enough to swim pro. I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of like looking for something. It was either Virginia Tech with Sergio Lopez or Alabama with Coley Stickles. And I remember texting both of them the same day. Coley never responded. So I ended up going to Virginia Tech, and I was just like, this is what I'm doing.
Wow.
And I raw dogged that trip, put everything in a 28-foot U-Haul because that was the only size they had available. I had a bed, and I was like, oh, whatever, we're just putting it all
You
in.
didn't even have an apartment or anything?
No.
Wow.
And so I drove 30 hours across the country and did it alone and just...
And where did you sleep that night?
Random hotels. And then I ended up getting there, and one of the girls had just retired from being pro. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll just take over your lease. And so it kind of just was all kismet, and I ended up there.
And that's okay. And that's where you met Camille
And
Jasmine.
Who are to this day my best friends.
Right. Yes. And that's when I started retraining you again. Because I had been training you from... Maybe it was like 2016, 2017. I can't remember. One of those years I was training you, and then we kind of stopped, and then I started training you again. I remember you texting me in like 2019, and I was training you and Camille at the same time.
Yes.
And then how long? How was Virginia Tech, and how long were you there for?
I was there from September 2019 to the beginning of the pandemic, so like March or May 2020. It was really good. It was my first real glimpse of what professional swimming would look like. We were kind of on the tail end of like ISL. Like it was kind of in its second season, I think. So like a lot of the swimmers there had either done ISL or were going into ISL. And I think my biggest learning thing that I understood there was I felt like I wasn't good enough. And almost everyone there was an Olympian or a multi-time Olympian. And I'm just this girl who got an Olympic trial cut and was like, I'm pro now. So it was like a very like big time of reckoning for me to establish my place and be able to be like, no, I belong here. And it's something I still deal with. Like I still struggle with this to this day in our own pro group. Like I'll have days where like maybe I'm not swimming good and I look around and I'm like, oh my God, it's Santo Condarelli and Calvin Justice. And I'm like, why am I here? Like, who am I to be training with these guys? And then I just really have to take a step back and look at it from a human point of view and be like, oh, we're all the same. Like we are really, truly just people doing what we love.
You're definitely more intelligent than some of the athletes though. So that you got that going for you.
Yeah. Thanks. That was so mean.
Sorry.
No, we have a great group of personalities.
No, it's awesome. It's so much fun. We love like talking smack like this to each other. So this is just part of that banter. When you say you're working on like taking up that space, are there things that you do? Are there mantras that you recite that help you deal with it? You know?
I think just like I have been working on recognizing when the thoughts come in, because they come in very aggressively. And Saturday, I was really struggling with those thoughts. I was like, my rib was hurting. I wasn't going the times that I wanted to. I was getting my ass kicked in like every part of everything that we were doing. And it was just like this overwhelming wave of like, you're not good enough. And what are you doing here? You're living in Sean's basement. Like you don't even have a house. No, it's not. It's not a basement. It's a guest bedroom.
It's an actual bedroom.
It's at the bottom floor of the house. So that's why I called it the basement. Yeah, I'm like, you don't have a place to live. You're struggling for money. Like, you know, all these things. I'm like, what? You don't deserve to be here. Like, who are you to be here? And like, the voice in my head is so different when it's those thoughts. So I have really been working on recognizing it and calling it out and be like, this isn't you. This is lies that either you're telling yourself or that are sneaking in, and you know that this is not true. And so it's hard to get over it, but I think that's the biggest thing that I've been working on is like, oh, this is not you. This is something else. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to call it what it is. It's fear. It's doubt. It's all the ugly emotions that we deal with. Do I get over it in the moment? No. but like recognizing and calling it out has
Yeah.
helped.
Yeah. I like to kind of like when those kinds of thoughts come up, I kind of like try to imagine it like as an object, and then I inhale it and then I exhale it out. You know, I try
Yeah.
to like, oh,
I do that
it's
before my
gone.
races. Like I'll inhale like a very light color, like a golden light. That I'll be like, oh, inhale courage. And then I'll imagine this dark smoke in my lungs, and then I'll exhale all my fear.
So does the gold, do you inhale the gold?
Yeah, you inhale the golden light, which I'll name courage or whatever that I need that
Right.
day. And then I'll exhale all this like black smoke, which is the fear,
Like
the
the
doubt,
tar
and
and
the,
yeah.
yeah.
I want to backtrack a little bit. Back to March of 2016, right when your college career was done.
Yes.
How did you feel lost?
Oh, I was so lost, depressed. I remember talking to our coach at the time. One of the girls was Misty Hyman. And I just was like, why does no one talk about this? Why are there not more athletes that have posted about this? Or why are there no resources for us? Because they really just like, you finish your college career and they're like,
That's
bye.
it. Yep. See you later.
Did you work on your resume? And I'm like, what? Like, that was I worked my entire life
For this?
to be here, for you to be like, okay, see you never.
Right.
And like,
I really struggled with it.
I
It
really,
was so hard.
It was very, very hard. I remember coping in very unhealthy ways and just like be like, and also manically going into as many new hobbies as possible. I was like, okay, I didn't make the Olympics in swimming. What can I be good at? Like, I tried archery, I tried rowing, I tried ballet, I did rock climbing. Any sport that I could potentially be good at, I did it. And like manically obsessively. Just to fill that void that I felt. Because truly, swimming is a relationship. It is the longest lasting relationship I've ever had. It's the most intimate relationship I've ever had with myself, with something else. And it has really defined me as a person, like my morals and things like that. So to have it end so abruptly with a college season that was disappointing was like, I felt like part of me died.
Yeah. That's what it felt like for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're really truly mourning, like grieving part of yourself.
Yeah, and it's something that you worked at every single day and you
Yeah.
thought about every single day.
Obsessively.
And then now you have nothing to think about or work towards, and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah. I remember being jealous of the other girls that were like, oh my God, I'm done. I have so much time. Like, I'm free. And I was like, I feel broken,
Devastated.
devastated.
Yeah, I never
lost.
understood that. Of like, I can't wait to be done with swimming.
I tried. I was like, I would lie to myself. I'm like, oh my God, you're so free. You have so much time.
I hate swimming.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was so envious of those girls.
Yeah, yeah. Talk to me about COVID and 2020. Actually, you did very well at Virginia Tech.
I did.
All your best times in the 1500 free are from
Yes.
2020.
It
in
was
January.
like every single time I raced, I was dropping time.
Yeah.
It was like a Kelvin year for me.
What do you think it was?
I think it was a new high level atmosphere. Like I was training with people that were better than me and were aggressively better than me. And I was just, I think, naive. And I think naivete really plays into success in some point. Like, you know how like there's two types of really amazing swimmers. Stupid swimmers that are so fast and geniuses that are so fast. And I feel like at that moment, I was a stupid swimmer. And not because I was dumb. I just didn't know anything about the sport truly because, you know, college swimming is what it is. But when you get to pro, it's so different. It's a different sport. It's a different mentality. And everything was new for me. No fear either. I was just like, well, nothing to lose. I'm just here. And I think now I have a lot more pressure on myself from me, from outside sources, from like, you know, where am I going to get my next paycheck? Is is my federation going to pay me? Like, are these big questions, like, will I be able to pay for Worlds if they don't pay for it? Like, these really big, like, overarching questions is like, and then if I don't perform, I'll lose all my funding. And so it's like, it's almost like when I was new, it was like, it's like when you see a kid, when they learn a new language, they're not scared to make mistakes. And that's why they rapidly progress. And that's how I was in swimming.
Good point. That's why Rylan speaks gibberish all the time.
Always, yeah. That's why my Spanish sounds like garbage, because I'm just like, bleh.
Yeah.
And I'm just like word vomit anything out just to see what happens.
But then as soon as you understand high level sentence structuring, right? And then use grammatically incorrect use, like right now how I'm talking. You use words incorrectly, then you're like, you start panicking.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I see. Interesting.
It's the positive feedback loop.
How do we get you back to that?
I don't know, frying pan to the head, I guess. Just like hard factory reset. No, I've really been thinking a lot because I have been stuck for quite a while now. And I have talked to a couple people about this, and I actually found an opera singer that posts her videos on TikTok, and she has been talking about how she was creatively stuck in her process. She wasn't improving in her singing and just like fell flat in a lot of her performances. And so one thing that she talks about is finding the villain. And for me, I was like, oh, this is such an interesting concept, having studied linguistics and literature and being such a fan of like the classics, is like she related the journey of the artist, and you could say the athlete is the artist as well, to the hero's journey. The hero has a goal, he sets out on his journey, and then he has a blind spot. And the only way he can overcome his blind spot is by meeting the villain. And the villain helps him realize what his true potential is, because the hero starts out his journey with a very juvenile motivation. So I feel like most athletes get to this point in their hero's journey and they're motivated by like, well, when I was 12, I wanted to go to the Olympics. When I was a kid, I wanted to just go to college. And you get to a certain point in your journey where like the motivation when you're 12, 13, 14 does not carry you any further. You've met your limit. So that's when you have to confront the villain and understand your blind spot. And to find your blind spot, it was, what virtue or what weakness are you disguising as a virtue? So you think of your process in preparing, and what is causing shame in your process? So I really had to sit down and be like, what am I ashamed of in my process? Or like, what is like this virtue that I have that's truly a weakness? And
so you're saying whatever you feel like is a weakness, you're hiding it by classifying as I'm being virtuous.
Yeah. So for me, like after a lot of thinking and soul searching and like really thinking about in my process of preparing and training what causes me shame, doing extra work. I want to, but I feel embarrassed by doing the extra work because I'm like, my teammates are going to think that I think that I'm better than them.
I had
like,
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like
I've had this.
The virtue is being humble, and it's not. It's the fear of being perceived is the weakness disguised as being humble.
Wait, why is that a weakness though? Like you wanting to work hard?
No, the weakness is me not doing it because I'm scared of being perceived as
got it. Okay. Yeah.
An asshole.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. I dealt with the same thing in high school. That's very interesting you said that. I thought I was the only one. I've actually never spoken about this ever in my life until right now.
I've really thought about it, and I do think I don't know what kind, I mean, I kind of know what kind of family you came from, but as an oldest child, I felt like my siblings were always compared to me. My sister was like, my parents were like, look at your older sister, look at how good she's doing. And so then I would feel bad because obviously I'm closer to my little sister than I am my parents. So I'm like, well, I don't want my sister to feel bad. So I'm going to dim my light a little bit so that she can
shine brighter.
Shine brighter.
Did you feel that, Sid? I don't know.
Maybe it was just my family, but I felt like that's really where it stemmed from. I was like being constantly compared to my siblings, my sister, and feeling bad about it and being like, I don't want her to feel like I'm outshining her. So I would not.
Shine bright.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, in high school, I had a very similar experience, and it's interesting that you said that because I've literally never spoken about it, and I
really
just
cool.
kept it to myself. But I was in high school, like all my teammates were all like very lazy people, and they happened to be like the cool kids, right? And so, but like I was obsessed with swimming, and I wanted to get better, so I wanted to work hard and do the set correctly, and everyone's skipping reps or whatever, and I was like, wait, am I supposed to do this too? So then I would like kind of act like them, like be a little bit lazy, and I was like, this feels so wrong. I don't want to work hard. But that's very interesting that you said that because I thought I was the only one that dealt with that. But I guess you just have to, if anyone's listening and you feel that way, just lean into it and be okay being like, who cares? Just be that guy.
No one cares.
No one cares.
And so what has helped me is to give my villain a persona and a backstory. And
wait, in this context, who is the villain?
the villain is, for me, is the person who is unashamed of doing extra work, who will stay after practice, who will do all the reps, even if it takes me way longer.
I thought that would be the hero. Why is that the villain?
Because the hero's motivation is juvenile. The villain will win at all cost, and they don't care how they're perceived.
Got it.
Think about the Joker and Batman. Truly, the villain and the hero have the same goal. They want, for Batman, they want to change Gotham City. And the hero is Batman is trying to avenge his parents' death. He's like, oh, the city is corrupt. The Joker wants to change Gotham City because the city is corrupt, and he wants to expose the corruption and be like, you guys are all part of the corruption. So truly the goal is the same for both the hero and the villain. For me, the goal is the same for my hero journey and my villain journey. I need to go to the Olympics. But the hero in me is like, I wanted to do this when I was 14. The villain in me is like, this isn't all consuming. I don't care what tries to stop me. I will get there. So I had to create a persona for this villain. And every time I put my cap on, it's like method acting. I put the villain persona on.
Do you actually think about that?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And it's
Do you have a name for your villain?
I don't. I should name her.
Marinita.
No, that's too close to me. And it's not like villainous. And the villain's not evil. It's just like,
right.
Think of the Joker. He is not going to sit in bed and wake up late because he's having a lazy day. He's, I don't want to avenge Gotham City today. No, he's going to do it.
I want to, wake up and take names.
Yeah.
And would you say that the hero is more concerned with like people pleasing?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's one of my biggest flaws is constantly feeling like I have to people please.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say
flaw. Would you say it's a flaw?
Yes, to an extreme it is.
To an extreme, yeah. Because then you don't have time for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And it's like...
But I think it can definitely be a good character trait to have for sure.
Yeah, it is.
That's very interesting. Talk to me about like late 2020. When did you move out of Virginia?
May-ish, maybe April, May. April, May 2020, I ended up in Tallahassee, Florida. I was going to train at FSU, but with the COVID shutdowns, I was training at like a local pool, and I had to book time, and I was only allowed to swim 3 times a week. It was just very stressful. And then after...
Is this because Dan was there?
Yes.
Is that why you chose FSU?
Yeah, Dan, the coach from Arizona State. Mm-hmm. And about 3 months had passed, and I got a phone call from the head coach of FSU, and he's like, you should move on because they will not let you train here. Like the university, they're not letting newcomers or outsiders come train. So then at that point, I was like, oh my God, what do? I don't know anybody. I don't know any other pros. All the universities were shut down. Unless you were alumni, you weren't allowed in. So the guy I was dating at the time, his college roommate was in West Palm Beach, and he was coaching at a NAIA school. Chris.
Okay.
He's at Arkansas now. Chris Grimmett Norris. And he's like, just come down. Like, we don't care. Come train with us. So for about a year and a half, maybe a little longer, I was in West Palm Beach
This
training.
FGC?
No. It was Kaiser University. It's a
Oh,
private
yeah. Okay.
NAIA.
I remember we had a meeting, me, you, and Chris,
Yeah.
one time. I remember this. Okay.
Yeah, I was training there and it was going pretty well. Got to Olympic trials with that coach. And then kind of reached the limit of what we could do with the resources we had there. So I remember being like, okay, what's next? I ended up going to Hawaii because I had gone to Mare Nostrum and I had met a coach there, and he was like, why don't you we're trying to start a pro team in Hawaii. Why don't you just come? And I was like, okay, Hawaii? Hell yeah. So I was there for 3 months. And the pro team ultimately fell apart and we went our separate ways. At that point, I was like, I think I'm done with swimming. Like, what's left? This was 2022. I went to Dallas, Texas for Christmas. And I remember just,
Because your parents are there.
yeah, my
Or
dad.
your dad is there.
I randomly messaged a club team, Texas Fort Aquatics. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be in town for Christmas. Can I do a couple practices with you guys? And they were like, yeah, sure, come over. I remember showing up on the pool deck the first day and I was like, there's pros here. There's like other pros.
Was Santo there
No,
at that point?
not at that point.
Okay.
And it was Coley Stickles and he was the coach there. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to do the high school kids practice. I'm going to train with you guys.
Yeah.
And I knew Coley was a spring coach. And so I was like, okay, yeah, this is great. I'll do this. I was like, I'm going to stay here until January and train for the Tier Pro Series with you guys. Ended up having a phenomenal Tier Pro Series. I got third in the 50 butterfly, my first podium finish at a Tier Pro Series, best times. And I was like, I'm staying. Like, I have all my stuff was still in Florida, and I was kind of living out of a suitcase, randomly going around
So you left your stuff in Florida, moved to Hawaii,
with like 2 suitcases. Yeah.
and then came back to Dallas.
Yes.
Okay. But your stuff is still in Florida.
Still in Florida.
Okay.
Ended up breaking up with my boyfriend at the time. And I was like, you can come with me or you can stay in Florida. And he's like, I'm staying in Florida. I was like, all right, well, I'm staying here.
And this is when Houdini's came along.
Yeah, Houdini, my bird, he came. Yeah, and then I stayed at Texas Ford for about 9 months. Santo came about 3 or 4 months in, trained together, and then it just really wasn't working. It was a bit of overtraining. We're training with high school kids. I was constantly getting injured, and I was like, I'm not going to make it to Paris if I continue this path. So we ended up going to SMU with Ozzy Covedo, and we were there for about 2 years almost, up to the Paris Olympics. And then that's when tragedy struck.
Do you want to go into that?
Yeah,
Or
should we? Yeah,
it's up to you.
it's part of the journey.
Okay.
So I swim for El Salvador, and how small countries do their qualifications for the Olympics is either you can get an A cut or you use universality. And that's typically what most small countries do is universality. You get 1 male and 1 female swimmer, and the swimmers are decided by the highest number of FINA points. And the FINA points are calculated by how close to the world record you are. So I was blowing away these FINA points. I was like, I'm for sure going. And then I remember in Doha, 2024, February, my teammate comes up to me, also from El Salvador, and he's like, hey, you going for the A cut? And I was like, well, yeah, but I'm already going because I have like 100 more FINA points than the next person. And he's like, no, you're not. And I was like, okay. And he was like, they just came out with a new rule. You can only use universality 2 times. So like, it was like you can go to 2 Olympics with universality or be under the age of 30. And I was like, oh, perfect. I've never been to Olympics. Even though I'm above the age of 30, I still qualify because I'm at my 1 Olympics. And he's like, oh, okay. Then we run the rule wrong. Then some time goes and the rule changes because then it's written as you can go to 2 Olympics and or be under the age of 30. And so at this point, it's maybe January, March, maybe March and April. And I was like, shit, I need the A cut. And I was not swimming well. I was like going 26-0, 26-0, 26-0, just like miserable. And I was like, okay, last ditch effort. Where is the last FINA meet I can do? Qualification ends June 23rd. I need to find a FINA approved meet that I can qualify for the Olympics at. So I remember talking to Camille. She's like, come to Rome. We're going to Rome. It's a FINA approved meet. It's where European Championships was a couple years ago. It's the pool Kat Simonovic qualified for her Olympics in. And I was like, okay, send it. We're going to Rome. I remember asking my dad for money. I was like, I need to qualify for the Olympics. And he was like, okay, like, let's just do it. So, get to Rome. Amazing, beautiful pool. If you've never been to Rome, and this pool, Setacoli, gorgeous, stunning, built during the Mussolini era. It's lots of history, but gorgeous. And I just remember racing that 50 free, and my dad's family is from Italy, and just having this like overwhelming sense of peace of being like, it's not happening, but it's okay. And then
During the 50, like in the middle
like
of the
right
50.
behind the blocks, I was like, it's not gonna happen. Like it was just like, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's not happening, because I would have to drop like a second.
Okay.
I'm just crying because it was such a emotional time. And I remember going back to my hotel room and just being like, it's over. Whoa, I haven't cried about this in so long.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I remember like I posted about it recently, but like just like one of the darkest times in my career, and just like being like, what am I doing? Like truly, what am I doing here? And I knew it was a long shot, because I had already in my head qualified, and everyone from my federation was like, oh, you're good. And then I remember asking my federation to fight for me, and they were like, no response. Mm-hmm. And then they sent me the rules for FINA. They're like, just read the rules. And I was like, I have read the rules. Fight for me. Read the rules. And so like that was also heartbreaking, just not feeling like I had anyone in my corner. And then I remember scrolling through my phone and just being like, who can I call that will know, like that I can even talk to about this? And I just remember feeling like so hopeless and being like, no one cares, which is a lie, because so many people would have answered that call. But I remember being like, what a waste of life that I am, to have failed my family so tragically, to have failed all my goals so spectacularly, and to have wasted so much money to be here. And so I just was like, I remember, you have your Spotify Wrapped, mm-hmm. and it's like, you listen to this much music. Mm-hmm. And I remember going through my Spotify Wrapped, like at the end of that year, 2024, and it was like, June 2023, or June 23rd, 2024, you listened to 22.5 hours of music. I remember just like putting my headphones on and just nonstop, like
music. That's
I was
how
like,
you
I can't even comprehend the outside world right now. Mm. And like, I think what made me feel shittier was like, it's just the Olympics. It's just a swim meet. I know it's just a swim meet. It is a nothing. It's nothing in the grand scheme of things. Truly nothing. There's so many more interesting and exciting experiences that I've had in my life. But the amount of sacrifice that I've had, like I had to go through to get there, I was just like devastated. Yeah.
And that's even harder, I think, emotionally, because you thought you were going to go, mm-hmm. and then to have that taken away. And like, if you were like from the beginning, if it was like, you just have to do the A cut.
Yeah.
And it was your last ditch effort, then it would have been much easier to cope emotionally.
Yeah.
But because it was like, I'm good to go, right? And then they come out with a new rule that kind of screws you over, and it's like, like that's way harder emotionally, I think, than to like
my dad had bought tickets to watch me in Paris. He bought the tickets to go see the 50 free in Paris. And he still has them on his wall. And I'm like, take those down, please. Like, I don't want to see that. But yeah, it was truly devastating.
I don't understand. I still don't understand that. Why does that rule exist?
When I asked for clarification about it, they said that it's to give developing countries the chance to develop their younger athletes so that they get a practice Olympics. And then the next Olympics they can go, they can be better. And I was like, that's not how the Olympics works. Why
Why don't
can't,
you just send your best person?
and I understand when we have an athlete who's like 35 and they're on their fifth universality Olympics. Like, yeah, okay. Maybe it's time for you to give the younger generation a chance. But so I don't disagree with the 2 Olympic cap for universality, but an age cap truly doesn't make any sense for me.
I don't think it makes any sense. Why wouldn't you want the best person in your country representing your country?
Yes. And I mean, when you really take a step back, obviously all rules are created for
A reason.
a reason.
Yeah.
And when you look at the athletes that were excluded from the Paris Olympics, I think there's 5 of us because we're too old. And there's a reason that the 5 of us were like the collateral damage to getting maybe something else out of it.
Do you think something greater came out of it?
No, I think it was for political or financial reasons.
I see. Okay. And obviously the rest of 2024 was a sad time for you.
Oh yeah, very depressed.
And were you swimming at this point?
No.
Were you contemplating quitting?
Life? Yeah. No, that was so dark. But
Quitting swimming.
yeah, because I had fully committed to Paris being my last Olympics. And I was like, okay, after this, I'm moving on and I'm done. And I will continue on with my life in however way I see fit. But then, I just can't let things go. But there was a point a couple months where I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm just going to let it go. Again, and I went through that grieving process in the morning of the death of my identity and the person I was. And then the opportunity came up for me to go to Budapest short course worlds. And I was like, another national record wouldn't hurt anybody. I think at that point I was 5-time national record. I was like 7-time national record holder, has a nice ring to it. So I, being just the petty person that I am, was like, this was the first time I had considered doing backstroke because, and I have no like hard feelings or malice towards the girl who went to the Paris Olympics, but she's a backstroker and I want her records because I want my name on the record board. So I went into Budapest with the goal of breaking the backstroke records. I ended up at that point leaving SMU for various reasons. Also, I came back from Rome, June 23rd, and Kasha, my teammate, had already made the Paris Olympics. And she was the only one training there. So I was like, I'll train with you. So I remember training all the way up to the Olympics with Kasha so that she would have a training partner. I cried a lot. But like in my goggles, she didn't need to see that.
What a great friend.
She was a medal contender. So I remember I was like, I'll be here. And I remember getting off the plane and then going to practice the next day and being like, I will face this later after the Olympics. So I really just kind of like stuffed it down. And I was like, I need to be here. This is where I'm most useful. And I think it was good for me too, just to kind of like get a little distance from that qualification effort. But yeah, started training by myself for Budapest short course. And I broke 2 national records in the 50 free, 100 free, just because I didn't have a qualification chance for the backstrokes. And then after that, I was like, oh, maybe I can be done now. And then we all know what happened. They announced the 50s of strokes. And I had facetiously said, like, if they announce the 50s of strokes, I will go to LA. And then they did. And I was like, well, I said I was going to do it. And I've told multiple people that I'm going to do it. So I'm doing it.
No, I got to back up my word.
Yeah. And I'm not a person that's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I don't do it.
Right.
So.
Wow. What a good friend you are for, like, because that must have been so hard. At least for me, if I was in your shoes, I don't think I could have swam. But then you're like, I'm going to, be a good friend and be a good teammate.
Yeah. It was hard because, like, there was a lot of excitement, building
For the
for
Olympics.
us. And we were like, oh my gosh, like 20 days until we leave. Then it was like 20 days till you leave.
Right.
And then it was like, because we had kind of gone through this whole season being like, we're going to the Olympics together. And then it was like,
that's tough.
You're going to the Olympics and I will be home watching. And so, like, it was very challenging.
Yeah. Wow. Talk to me about your training that you were doing by yourself. Because I think it worked.
Yeah. I was lifting insanely heavy because I was just like, so stupid. Because I did think I was going to quit. So I was like, I want the fattest ass I can possibly get. So I
hip thrusting 600 pounds in the corner with your headphones on. People are like, what the hell is wrong with this girl?
just rage lifting. So I was like, I'm going to get as strong as possible. And then I started adding the swimming back into it. I had a really close friend at the time, and I called him and I was like, bruh, what do I do? Like, I'm training by myself. I'm doing the same 500 warm up and just like a couple of sprints. I was like, I need something. And he was like, don't tell anyone. And then he was started to send me the practices that he was doing. And I was like, honestly, I would not still be here swimming without him, because like he really was.
Do I know this person?
Yes. Oh. And we'll discuss after.
Yeah, okay.
But he really was like just a person that has always been in my corner and just stepped up when I needed him to be like, I got you. And was sending me practices and like, you can do this. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah.
When you say get strong as strong as you can be, what kind of stuff were you doing? What kind of numbers were you hitting?
I remember my best hip thrust that I got, because I was hip thrusting a lot, was like 320 pounds for like a set of 6.
Dang. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good.
Okay. What else?
Lots of lunges, lots of single leg stuff. I was trying to do a lot of like jumping, explosive stuff. I was also training in a rock climbing gym, so doing a lot of like bouldering and rock climbing.
Forearm, fingers, hands.
Tons of pull-ups.
Yeah.
And then experimenting with calisthenics. And that's when I revived the handstand journey as well. Because rock climbing gyms are kind of weird. Like, it's just a bunch of like really skinny guys that like are insane at pull-ups.
Yeah. Of the hip thrust, pull-ups, calisthenics, rock climbing, do you feel like one of those helped you the most, or is it a combination of all of them?
I truly think my best asset and my biggest strength in swimming is my legs. Always has been.
Your best asset?
My best asset. I worked hard in the cake factory.
You did work in the bakery.
She got a dumpy. Yeah. No, truly, like, and then I had this weird goal of like, I'm going to do 100 wall balls for 30 days. Or like,
I remember you told me this. I was like, what the heck?
30, they didn't have to be consecutive, but I wanted to complete like 30 days of 100 wall balls to see how fast I could get it. And like, hold on, I'll look it up, because like, I was like, oh, for sure I can go under 5 minutes. The first one, I like actually almost died. And then it just kept getting better.
And why 100 wall? But just to see if you could do it?
Just purely to see if I could do it.
Huh.
I think that I got to around like 2.5 minutes.
100 wall balls, 2.5 minutes. Is that fast?
I feel like that's fairly fast.
That's pretty fast, right?
More
than 1%. Is it?
Maybe.
What's the math on that?
Maybe it was a little more. Maybe it was like 3 minutes. But it was some. I don't know where it is. It's not popping up in here. But yeah, I got like really good at wall balls, and like for no reason. No, but I really truly felt like because I'm such an underwater swimmer, and I was like, I have the 100 free, and I have 15 meters underwater that I have to do, and my lungs are gonna explode, my legs are gonna die. So I need to do something. I'm not gonna run. What's my cardio that I can just destroy the legs? Wall balls. So I truly think that was like the game changer for me was wall balls.
Did it help you? You
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
I mean, I got 2 national records. I finished. I think that was
You
like
won a PB, right? Short course meters
yeah.
in both the
In both
50
events. Yeah.
and
I
100
think that was my highest finish in
at a world championship.
at a world champs. Sorry, I just found my wall balls. I started first time I did it 5:51,
Okay.
and I broke it up into 10 sets of 10, and then my best was 4 minutes flat, and I did 30, 25, 25, 20.
I love how you have these detailed notes in your phone.
This is why I have no storage in my phone, because it's like wall ball times, future kids' names,
What a weirdo.
a harp player's name and contact number. Like, why? Because I really wanted to play harp once, and I was like, side quest.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I remember Sid, when Marina came over, you were in California for whatever reason, and we swam together and we tried to vlog and we got kicked out.
Yeah.
Do you remember that day?
Yes.
What was that, March?
It was February.
February?
Yeah.
At that point you were like, maybe I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were talking and you're like, yeah, I think I'm done. And like
Yeah.
at that point I hadn't seen you in like 5 years, maybe.
5 years, probably. Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's so good to see you. Nah, nah, nah,
Mm-hmm.
nah. Yeah, like seeing you every day in 2025 was not in my bingo cards.
Not a single thing that has happened in 2025 was on my bingo
Yeah,
card.
I don't think it was on any of our bingo cards.
Like, truly.
But yeah, in February you were like, yeah, I think I'm done. Maybe I'll swim. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was the 50s a stroke that brought you back.
Yeah. And the reason I actually ended up in California was because of Josh Danhauser. And he's been a really good friend of mine as well, and very supportive and encouraging and things like that. But he was like, what are you doing in Dallas? You have no friends? You have no community? Not in a mean way, but like, you have no community there. Your people are here. Why don't you move here? And so February I was like, okay, I'll come visit. And I remember sleeping on their couch for like a week, Josh and Santi. And at the time, me and Santi like were not that close of friends. And I was like, hey, I'm just like, I'm here. And he's like, cool, whatever. Then came back in March. And then again, I think after that one more time. And he was like, you have to move here. And we had started working together. And I was like,
When did we start? April?
yeah, April.
And Grand Challenge was May. Had you moved here at that point or
No,
not yet?
I was still sleeping on their couch. Like, just anytime I would visit, I was like on their couch.
In May.
Yeah.
And you were still just visiting
Yeah.
for the meet. And then
Yes.
you flew back. Oh, yeah, because you were renting that blue car and you smashed the side mirror in my garage.
Yes.
Okay. And then you moved in June, I think. Officially.
No, after Singapore, August, September, I moved all my stuff over here. I drove.
No, but you moved here at some point in the summer, no?
No.
No?
I brought several suitcases of clothes and I left the clothes here. But there was no like,
Wow, my memory is terrible.
Marina was in and out during summer training.
yeah.
Yeah, but you had moved here at some point before Singapore.
I was here for a month training for because we were like, let's do an extended training trip before Singapore.
Oh, so you're here for a month.
Yeah.
And you were living at Josh's house.
Your house.
Oh, at my house.
Yes.
Oh.
I obviously didn't make an impression.
No, I remember you living at my house. I just couldn't remember the timeline of things.
Yeah.
I guess the blood loss got me.
Tragedy.
I want to talk about clinics.
Okay.
I think I ran a clinic with Marina in July, and I had run maybe a handful myself at that point, but I was truly blown away. Just like at the efficiency of your, like I felt like, I feel like I'm a pretty decent coach, right?
Yeah.
Like I have good coaching experience. And when I was running a clinic with you, I was like, oh, I'm not, I'll let her take it, Like I remember I was like, all right, you do the next thing. I don't know what I'm doing here. But I really think you have you've probably run 300, 400 plus clinics now at this point.
I started in 2018.
Right. And you've done a lot of clinics. But yeah, I want to talk about clinics and what you were thinking about when you run the clinics.
Yeah.
Because when we were running that clinic, I was like, wow, she's really good. Like everything is choreographed, everything has a timeline to it. There's progressions to the drills, nothing is random.
Yeah.
So talk to me, like when you show up to the clinic, like what are you thinking about? What's the progression like?
Yeah, I mean, now it's pretty much on autopilot. But when I first started, I actually can't take 100% of credit for like the way that I run clinics because Chloe Sutton taught me how to like run efficient clinics. And she is like, I feel like the star of clinic running. She doesn't do them anymore because she has a family. But I remember just like everything was 100% set the way it, from the moment the kids come in and see you at the table, you're on. And I think teaching in a classroom has really helped me develop that skill because like the first time I remember doing a clinic, I was like, I've never I took a public speaking class in college and took a W in it because I couldn't talk in front of people without crying. And so like we've come a very long way. I do this for my job now. So yeah, the moment that swimmers come to the pool deck, they're greeted with a smile. What is your name? They're made to feel welcome. Do you need anything? Like, you want them to feel like, okay, this isn't a star athlete. This is someone that I can connect with and there's like a personal relationship with them. So like putting the parents and swimmers at ease is like the number one
You're
thing
immediately trying to knock down that door
Yes.
of like that distant feeling.
Exactly. Because how can you learn if you're feeling like you're on guard by someone who is unwelcoming or like too good to be there? Because I do think there are athletes that have many more accolades than me who are like, God, I have to teach this clinic. And I never want a kid to feel that way. Like, I'm too good for this. And then it comes to the end of the photos. It's like when I take pictures or do autographs, it's always genuine. I never want to take a picture with a kid and be like, and like you can just see the fakeness in your smile.
Yeah.
It's always genuine. If I don't want to take pictures, I don't offer it.
Yeah.
But I always try to be as genuine possible. If they want autographs, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, let's do it. Where do you want me to sign? What do you want me to sign? Because I remember being a kid and asking for autographs and like then be like, whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, never meet your heroes is a real thing. And I never want someone to feel like that about me. Like, I never want someone to be like, oh, she is a cool swimmer, but she's kind of not that nice.
It takes an individual who's been through every level of swimming to understand this and to have empathy for the kids. If you've never been in that phase and you don't remember what that was like, you can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think when I remember, so I'm doing that project of like collecting advice from people. And the best piece of advice someone told me was people are going to forget the medals. People will forget the times. People will forget the places and the meets that you qualified for, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is 1,000 times more important than anything I will ever accomplish in the pool. And
Facts.
I remember hearing that and being like, okay, right. And I heard this.
I need that record.
I heard this from a gold medalist, an Olympic gold medalist. And I was like, okay, buddy.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. I'm like, whatever. But then I remember having like a very deep heart-to-heart with Santo. And I was just spiraling. I was like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I'm swimming like shit. Like, how am I ever going to accomplish anything in this sport? And like, he was just like, sit your ass down. And like, he's like, you walk onto the pool deck, people know you. People like you. People go up to you and want to speak to you. And everyone like flocks to you and is just like, these are paraphrasing and I'm not quoting him specifically. But he was like, you have this like energy that people want to be around. He's like, I would trade that. I would trade my silver medal for that. And I was like, you're joking, right? We were also doing other stuff that night. And,
Yeah. Understood.
so it was very emotional, and we were
Yeah.
just like, just
Opening
saying it.
up. Yeah.
But like, it was just like an eye-opening thing to be like, it does matter how you make people feel.
Yeah.
It is truly.
If someone is willing to give up their Olympic silver medal for that.
And like, for me, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, that's all I want. That is all I want,
Yeah.
is that recognition and that achievement.
Right.
And then for him, he was like, all I want is that recognition and achievement that you have. So always grass is greener on the other side.
Right.
But
Okay. Staying on topic.
sorry. Yeah. Clinics.
Clinics.
How do I do it? I just am not good.
Yeah, they no, you greet them, you make them feel welcome, and
Yes.
there's usually a topic of the day, right?
Yeah. So topics will be like starts and turns, or I'll do freestyle, or backstroke. I'll do like one of the strokes. And I have scaffolding. So like in teaching, you have your lesson plan, and you have to plan for a child to be much more intelligent than the rest of the group. And then also on the other end of the spectrum, much farther behind. So I have the lesson plan for the vast majority, like where I kind of know 13 to 18-year-olds lie in their swimming. And then I have drills that can go up, and then drills that can go down. And during the clinic, I am always watching to see like, okay, where are we? How are our streamlines? How can they hold a body line? Like, are they understanding when I make corrections? Can they make those corrections? Do we have body awareness? And like, I take all this information and I am like, okay, can we go more? Do we need less, or do we kind of just stay? So when you say, oh, everything is planned and choreographed, it's truly not. I have a structure, and then it evolves and develops based on what I am
What you're seeing in
perceiving.
that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do they need? And I think that's what makes a great teacher, is like the best students don't learn by just sticking to the book. They will never learn by just sticking to the book. And I think we've talked about it, the Montessori method in swimming. Like in school, you let the kids kind of go crazy and like experiment with how they want to feel or what they want to learn. And then the teacher's there to guide and like bounce ideas off of. That's my understanding of Montessori.
Yeah. Mine too.
Okay. And so I open the clinics with this explanation of like, this is your clinic. This is playtime for you. You don't get this during practice. There's no intervals here. There's no time limit for these drills. We could spend the whole time just figuring out the start if that's what you guys want to do. Typically it's not, but I really encourage experimentation, because I think that's the easiest and fastest way to excel in any part of your life. And for kids and young adults, and even like in our group, I think experimentation disguised as play is one of the best teachers, because there's no pressure on performing the drill correctly. That's why I have all these silly, stupid names for these drills, because I'm like, oh, if we do like explosive isolated dives, they're going to be like, oh my God. But if we do butt cracker, like they're going to be like, oh, okay. And then they get it.
Yeah. Pizza toes.
Yeah, exactly. Pizza toes. And then they're like, oh, yeah.
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? Your method of explaining? It reminds me of a bakery, like baking. Mm-hmm. It's like in baking, when you want to make a loaf of bread, it's 100 grams of flour, this much yeast, right? But depending on the humidity of that day, depending on the type of flour that you're given that day, you have to adjust the recipe a little bit. So maybe some of your experience as a baker came into play for your clinics.
I've literally never put those two together, because I like think them as separate parts of my life. But that is
but when you said bakery, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
it's the same.
It is the same.
Talk to me about like how when you're watching the kids, right? Say they're struggling a little bit, like, or they're tactics that you use to help them? Like, say there's one athlete that's kind of struggling a little bit. Are there tactics that you use to bring them up to speed, or like how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So like if I have like an outlier that's struggling, I will be like, okay, if we're on a progression, let's go back a step and let's nail this one. And typically if I give them just a little bit more time, they're like, oh, okay, I got it. I just needed 1 or 2 more reps. And then we can go back in. But if that's like, sometimes I have like parents that are like, my kid's really good. And like, they think it's like a learn to swim camp. And then I'm like, oh my God, we can't even do a full lap of freestyle. Then it's like having a conversation with a kid is like, what are you comfortable with? Because I'm cool with you trying everything. And like, if you fail, that's okay. You're still going to learn. But then I have kids that'll be like, they're young. So it's like, I can't do what they're doing. And I'm like, do you want to watch and help me as a teacher? And sometimes I have them assume that teaching role with me, because the fastest way to learn something is to teach someone else.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that when you start to teach, you have a deeper understanding of the knowledge. So if I'm in that situation where I'm like, this kid actually can't swim, then I'm like, do you want to be a teacher with me? If they don't want to experiment. And then on the other side of like, if I have someone,
a great idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I have someone that's like way too good and I'm like, oh my God, they're bored, then I will either I challenge them and I'm like, beat me, be better than me. Or I'll give them like much more complicated drills that kind of go along with what the other kids are doing. And I give it as an option to everyone. I'm like, here's the challenge drill. If you would like to do this, you are doing it. Like I'll like point them out. I'm like, you're for sure doing it. Yeah. If anyone else would like to try this, please feel free. If you would like to start to perfect the other skills that we're working on, then let's do that. So that's how I kind of manage both ends of the spectrum.
Do you have a favorite drill progression? Any stroke, any even dives?
I love teaching underwaters. And I just think that, I'm good at them. So it's fun for me. But I also think that it is the most progress I ever see in one session from any kids. And there's always an aha moment. And like, I think that we really don't teach underwaters correctly. We're like, okay, dolphin kick. And you're like, okay, but there's like, I could spend probably 2 or 3 days just teaching underwater kicks. Like, when do you initiate the dolphin kick? How do you hold your breath? How much wind up in your up kick should you have? How big should it be? How much anterior tilt should you have with your pelvis? Like, there's so many small nuances, and every body is different. So like, your underwater kick is going to be vastly different than mine. So there's so much stuff to play with, and I like it because the kids get to experiment. And I always like preface underwater kicking with is like, I will teach you what I believe to be the fastest way to swim. But if something works for you that doesn't work for me, run with it. And I'm teaching you how to understand a feel. And you can't be in my body and feel what it feels like. I'm explaining a feel to you and you need to experiment with it. So my favorite like drill progression, it's so easy. We did it when we did that first podcast, or not podcast, vlog.
Clinic.
No, vlog. It was
Mm-hmm.
least amount of kicks, as big and powerful as possible, most amount of kicks as small and fast as possible, and then build a kick where you go from super, super big to super small. And within that last 25, you should turn your brain on and be like, that was it. And almost every single time I do this progression, kids are like, I found it. I found the perfect size kick.
I was going to say that because I really like that progression because I've never seen that progression before. But it's a really nice way to, when you have 30 kids, you can like individualize for each kid. But that progression gives you a system that helps every kid find a perfect size dolphin kick for them. It's a really good system where kids auto-regulate themselves.
Right. And I always do the drill, that progression, first myself and make them watch. And then I make them, when I do the big to small kick, I make them all go underwater. And I'm like, I want you to make a sound when you think I've hit my perfect size dolphin kick, so that they're getting used to like spotting what a good dolphin kick looks like. So like whatever sound, scream underwater, I don't care. Like when you see my perfect size dolphin kick.
That's a good way to make it interactive too.
Yes.
Because then you see, like, sometimes you see kids like they get bored and they're like picking their nose in the corner or whatever.
Yeah.
But you say that and they're engaged. They're like want to participate. When you do your private lessons, are you kind of taking these same concepts, like the Montessori method, or are you more like honed in on the individual and really dialing in on what they need, or like what does a private lesson look like?
It's very similar, and like I have the idea of what I want to work on with them, but then I will do a couple laps of like me watching them swim, and it'll be like, okay, let's experiment with moving your arms more in the streamline. What did that feel like? Give me feedback. It's kind of like when I work with Josh and he's like doing PT. He's like, what does it feel like when I push here? What does it feel like when we push here?
Hurts.
Ow. Yeah. But that's kind of like, it's just a really back and forth conversation of like, okay. And then I'll film and I'll be like, look at how much more efficient this dolphin kick was when we were shrugging our shoulders up versus when we had them nice and stiff. Like, what did it feel like when you shrugged your shoulders up? How can we lean into this more? And so it's watching the film, us discussing what drills are going to help us get to where we want to be.
Wait, are you thinking about this? Are you thinking about the shoulder elevation during dolphin kicking?
I don't anymore, but yeah, I used to.
Okay.
It's just natural now.
And where do you initiate your dolphin kick from?
From my fingertips.
All the way down. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
How I explain it to kids is like, okay, imagine the massive American flags at the gas station, the big ones. And then your parents, it's 4th of July, they put a little mini flag on your car window. So it's hanging out the window. You guys stop at the gas station. The wind is moving 20 miles an hour. The big flag is like this, big waves. The small flag is like this. So think about your body size. The bigger the person is, to go 20 miles an hour, they're going to have a bigger wave. The smaller the person is, the smaller, faster the wave is. So I think that helps put the visual perspective of like, okay, yes, the bigger the body, the bigger the wave needs to be. So for me, 5'5", 5'6" on a good day, I have to use as much body as possible. So starting from the fingertips makes sense for me.
More sense.
Yeah, I've tried chest down.
Chest down.
Slow.
Yeah. I initiate here.
Yeah.
Me personally.
And I think that is the typical.
Right.
Like that is what is well received in the community of like, that's where you start your dolphin kick, from the chest.
I do think it takes more mobility though to initiate from here.
Yeah.
Because in order for you to be able to get into this chest out position with your hands back here, you need a ton of shoulder flexion. But if you don't have as much, then you can get away by doing this a little bit more. And like Phelps, he was very still in the upper body, but also Phelps was like a freak in mobility. He was freaky mobile. So I think that worked well for him.
And I always people always point to those types of swimmers, the outliers, the exceptions to the rules. And I'm like, you cannot compare yourself to Michael Phelps. No. Like,
he was a freak.
Absolute freak of nature. Like his torso length was insane.
Yeah. And
you're going to tell me that you are modeling your dolphin kick off of him? That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was crazy mobile too.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, we've been at this for a while. Wow. Time really flies when we do these. Isn't that crazy? Can you leave us a question for the next guest?
Well, I kind of want to leave them the villain question.
Okay.
Of like,
I need to write this down. Hold on. Oh, Sid's got it.
What is a weakness that you're disguising as a virtue that is hindering your process?
Wow.
So for me, it's being humble, but that's not the virtue. The weakness is actually not wanting
to upset people.
Perceived as an overachiever teacher's pet.
Just do it.
Just do it. I have been trying.
Awesome. Where can people find you?
Instagram or TikTok, same handle, Marinita Spadoni.
Marinitas, but you know, someone came up to me one time, was like, "Hey, you know that Martin Spadoni
I
person?"
know.
I was like, "Who?"
I've really debated changing it, but like the ita is the diminutive in Spanish, which means small. So it's like little Marina.
Why not Big Marina?
Gorda.
Anything else?
No, that is it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.